fruition. But if we don't think about creative solutions to these things, then we'll be sitting here. I mean, and another sort of issue. I'd like to reduce our carbon footprint. So the fewer cars that we have here, we're investigating putting in wind turbines out on the research farm. So those are sort of the interesting and fun sort of things to learn about and do, Mr. Chancellor.
Yeah, it's almost like you're playing one of those, Sim City games right now with trying to, work everything out and place it together.
I hadn't thought about it that way, but it is true.
And I think it's still important that even if a student today voices their opinion about a campus issue, the planning and stuff like that coming up, some people's attitudes are, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm not going to be here to see it. But I think it's still really important to, let students know that this is your campus. You have gone here. This has been your home.
You're a pioneer forever.
Yeah.
Well, and the other piece of that is that, and I speak from experience, there are a lot of things that I've done over the course of my career that at that moment didn't do me or anybody else any good, but it was a learning experience for me. I urge students to get involved in a club, an organization, some sort of activity. The master planning stuff, there's plenty of opportunities for students to come and be heard. But also, everybody's going to graduate. They're going to go off into the world. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think
Cross
it's
your
good.
fingers.
And go off in the world and live in a community where the same sorts of planning are going to be going on. Mm-hmm. The same sorts of things in their work experience are going to be going on. It's an opportunity to sort of say, oh, this is how this works. Or this is an example of how this works. Mm-hmm. And I turned 56 this week.
Oh.
So you have a sense of perspective at
Happy
some
birthday,
level.
by the way.
Thank you. You have a sense of perspective that everything that you experience in a day, you don't have to process and figure out in the same day. Mm-hmm. A week from now, you'll know a little more and have a little bigger context. 6 months from now, you'll know a little more, have a bigger context. A year from now, 5 years from now. It happens to me all the time where something will come up and I'll think about it and say, oh, okay, that's something that I looked at or thought about 3 or 4 years ago, didn't quite get or thought about it this way, that now that I'm sitting here, I see in a different context and it makes more sense, or I can apply that here. And so you got to look for those opportunities while you're on campus, intellectually engaged in a way that a lot of times you're not going to have the time once you leave college to be engaged at the same level, because you're going to have a family, you're going to have kids, you're going to, you have a boss.
Oh, yeah.
All that stuff.
Now, looking back at your first year here once again, do you have, like, any moment when you look back, because we're coming to the end of the year here, that you go, wow, like, that was really cool?
Oh, I think there's a whole lot of those sorts of things. I think just the first couple of weeks on campus, the student convocation that we held early in the year, the homecoming parade, even some of the things that were challenging, like the graffiti and that kind of thing, to sort of see the way people pulled together and sort of attempted to address those issues. It was, it wasn't fun, but when you look back and sort of see how willing the community was to engage and the university was to engage in that, I think it was a great thing. When the Board of Regents came to campus and the week-long celebration that we had, it was a very, fulfilling moment to sort of, because they don't come that often. Mm-mm. And, we're sort of the outlier. You have Whitewater and Parkside and Madison and Milwaukee over in sort of one part of the state, and then you got Stout and Oshkosh and all. We're sort of out here in southwest Wisconsin on our own, and people don't have occasion to come down here. And they said, wow, this is great. And we put together this on campus, this great video that I think brought a tear to the regent's eyes. It was very powerful. The folks did a great job putting it together. That was really a remarkable experience. And it was, for me personally, the investiture ceremony, and I had a bunch of family and friends and colleagues in town, so that was a real highlight. And I'm real excited about my second commencement. I went through one. It's great fun to sort of, people have, completed a significant accomplishment, and they're excited, and the family are there. And so I'm looking forward to that too.
Now, during your investiture, when you're standing up there, your family's in the crowd, you just had to just feel so good, because you had that idea, years ago that, someday I want to be a chancellor or president of a university. And then it just had to probably be such a big moment for you to try to take it all in.
Well, I think the thing that always comes back to me is no one is a success without a lot of help. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, I had foster parents, I had brothers, I had professional colleagues, former teachers, here that, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, they were just helping me because it was the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what struck me most about it. That we are all sort of the summation of the efforts that the people around us put into us. Sure, we work hard and we pay attention and, blah, blah, blah. But if you're successful, I don't think any successful person can look back and say, I did it all on my own. Mm-hmm. No one helped me. I mean, that would be extraordinary. So that's what I think made it particularly moving for me.
And to see them all there, too, with you, look what we all did.
Yeah, exactly. I've actually been down in the Foundry, doing some stuff with students down there, a couple of different things. A young woman designed a putter for me to play golf with, and I actually poured the metal to make it. It's cool. It's pretty exciting. And I love that kind of stuff. Uh-huh. So it's been an exciting time, interesting, and 24/7, but it's what I signed up for, and I'm loving it.
Well, we're so happy to have you here. I wish you best of luck. You're following, you're coming up, and you already are looking at it, and I can already see it in your face. You're excited.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And who knows what's going to happen next year. Well, hopefully the stuff that you do know.